Hey there, everyone. It's Codian from Codian Films, and I'm here with just a kind of lore video for the Lego versus Army Men series that I'm doing. As you can see, I had this little uh, line, a gallery of miscellaneous figures here to help me demonstrate and illustrate my little story that I have. So this lore video, well, actually, before we even get to this, if you guys want me to continue making lore videos like this to explain the story and also clear up any questions you guys might have about anything, um, leave a comment, leave a like in the description and section below, and I'll respond to your feedback eventually. I don't always check the main channel immediately, but I'll read them all eventually and get back to you. Um, so yeah, on to now that we've gotten the formalities out of the way, we can start with the actual demonstration. So today's discussion is going to be on this big bastard right here, the Bionicle. My hands, the Bionicle. Now I know that they're Lego. They are Lego, right? That according, they were created by the Lego company, whatever, however long time ago, and they were created by Lego for Lego. Well, not for minifigure Lego. They were made for their own. Never mind. So these guys are technically supposed to be Lego and belong to these guys. Well, not really these guys in particular, but the the modern day Lego. This is actually part of this. This is part of the scene, from the episode 2 of the stop motion, I think, where they had this is the artillery explosion scene. So you can kind of look at. Ignore that cat. You can look. You can look at kind of the behind the scenes of what I was trying to do here. This is Captain Avery here. A little bit of an off track, but I like this guy a lot. He's very nice. I made him so anyway. So these guys were made by Lego company to be their own own extension of the Lego minifigures, but in the stop motion universe, which is completely different from this, from how it is in real life. Before these modern day Lego and futuristic Lego humans were the dominant Lego species, there were two other main ones. Well, really three, but I have two here. The two big ones. The dwarves. Well, I'll zoom in here. And also the orcs. Now, the dwarves were the protectors of the fantasy ancient Lego world. Okay, they were the ones to. They didn't have a lot of manpower, but they did have technology. They did have strength. They did have honor, civility, and they had the backing of the humans, what few there were, and the elves. The orcs were this really uncivilized, undisciplined, humongous horde and army that was almost endless. And their job, they were created by some, as of yet, undisclosed beings to kill humankind and the elves, because the elves would eventually evolve into more humans, stronger humans. So these guys hate these guys, and also these guys, and the elves who aren't in this gallery. But yes, so the dwarves, the orcs, although they had numbers, they're very dumb. As you can see, this guy has a little no, pick him up, and no, not your Bionicle. They have scrap weapons. They have very basic armor and tools. They just have numbers, really. They let their overlords do most of the work. The humans are not nearly as advanced as the orcs were, but they took some ideas from both, and also the elves, to come in and kind of be an even balance. They are not the humans are more physically. Well, not even. The dwarves, although they're very small, are very strong for their size, but slow. Humans are again also a balance. I want them to be kind of in the middle. The orcs are very, very strong, normally taller than a human, and not very fast. Elves are also incredibly tall and incredibly fast, but they aren't very strong. They're very weak, actually. Uh, so humans are kind of another, again, the even balance between the two. Strong, tall, kind of strong, slow, but short. And to make up for their size and their lack of numbers over the orcs, they use their smarts and technology to gain the upper hand, defending against the endless waves upon waves upon waves upon waves of orc soldiers to defend the humans and the elves were too cowardly to fight these bastards. Anyway, so the dwarves were getting desperate and they're in endless war to fight these guys. Dwarves decided the only way to beat the orcs was to outmatch them in their own game of bloody combat. So what they did was they designed, yes, you probably already figured it out by now, but they did, in fact, create the Bionicles millennia ago, before the whole stop motion series that I have going on. Mad General's falling over. I held the front. Anyway. Bugger. So yes, the dwarves created the Bionicle thousands of years ago to kill and stop the orcs from eliminating. Just stay there. God, okay. Stop them from eliminating the humans and the elves, and also, of course, themselves. They're very humble, very self-sacrificing dwarves. Anyway, so these guys, the Bionicle, they were given very advanced artificial intelligence by the dwarves so they could outsmart the orcs and keep track. They were kind of like the military police for the dwarves and the humans and the elves. They were the ones to make sure that the orcs didn't break through the border and slaughter everybody they knew and loved. These were not mass-produced. I do not want to put across that the dwarves were able to make thousands upon thousands of these massive, as you can tell, these things are huge compared to the minifigures. These things are humongous, which is why I put them in an action figure video and not a Lego video, because obviously these bastards would win. Anyway, so these things could not be mass-produced by any means. They were wooden originally, but made by the dwarves, and then as they got better, they were made into rock, then they were made into iron, or bronze, then iron, then steel, and then titanium and titanite, which is what they are currently. And there was advanced forms because the dwarves were very good at metallurgy and smithing and all that good jazz. Good on you, crafty buggers. Anyhow, so these were not mass-produced by any means. There were only a couple hundred of them at the peak of the Dwarven Empire. There were only a few hundred Bionicle soldiers, and normally they were smaller than this guy. This was probably a little bit below average. The most, they weren't the tallest. Obviously, the leaders of the Bionicle were like double their size. They were huge. I have a couple over by the table area, but we'll forget about that. So these guys, the average was probably about here, almost to like shoulder level with them, or maybe like chest level with this soldier right here. But this is the executioner. They killed the generals and all this stuff in the stop motion. Anyway, so this guy was bigger than the average. However, they still would have easily towered over any minifigure anyway. So they were not mass-produced. There were only a couple hundred of them, but they were still enough, combined with the dwarven flying machines and their tanks and their catapults and all that stuff, and the crossbows and the muskets, to beat back the orcs and keep them from killing everything else. Now, over the millennia, the orcs began dying out. The dwarves began winning the wars and winning the battles, and eventually the orcs retreated back into their cavernous holes in the ground and began dying out. Now, this is when the humans began taking precedence. Now that the orcs had retreated into their caves, the humans and the dwarves and the elves could leave their walled-in cities for the once in thousands and thousands of years and settle new areas, colonize new areas, and really gave the humans the space and the time they needed to evolve from the elves and the dwarves to be proper humans. They could reproduce, repopulate the area. And it was at that time that the humans became the main species of Lego in the world. Also at this time, the action figure were already alive. The Bionicle were obviously alive, but not sentient. The army men were not yet in their current form. They were medieval army, which I do have actually. If you guys want to see a medieval army man series, I do have medieval army man. Don't ask. These guys in their modernized form with their assault rifles and everything were not yet here. They were medieval soldiers, all that stuff, although still same ethics. Anyway, and the Playmobil were not yet here, though they weren't evolved yet. So these guys began flourishing. These guys began dying off, but weren't quite dead yet. And the dwarves and the elves began turning into humans through like evolution and yada yada yada. But the dwarves and their culture, as they evolved, began dying out because of their small population. Began dying out faster than the orcs could. The orcs were dying out because they kept picking fights with humans who had now inherited the technology. Okay, these guys died. They're dead. So the orcs, although they still had numbers over everybody else, they could not beat the humans because humans inherited most, but not all, of the tech from the dwarves. The dwarves died out to only a couple of cities are hidden in some mountain range that I may or may not show later on. The orcs eventually died off completely. There's only like 5 of them left in the modern day, and most of them are either evil, insane, or like hiding themselves and have like really mutated abilities. Anyway, so at this point, the humans and the elves took over. They were the only 2 remaining major species of Lego in the world. These 2 didn't go extinct yet, but they were pretty close. And as the dwarves died out, their language did as well. Humans began speaking English and Latin and Spanish and Mandarin and all that stuff. More and more, dwarves' language died out. As such, they could not communicate with the Bionicle, who, upon realizing that their masters, the dwarves, had died off, they went back to their main base in the same mountain range the dwarven stronghold was, the last one, and shut themselves down. They knew that they weren't needed anymore. The orcs had died. Their main mission was complete. They beat the orcs. All right, ha ha ha, yay, celebrate. They turned themselves off in the mountain range, hid them, blocked themselves off, so the humans couldn't use them. These guys, again, were robots. They were sentient by this point, and knew that the humans were not peaceful people. Although they were very weak during the reign of the orcs and the dwarves as the 2 major powers, the Bionicle knew that these were smart enough anyway to realize that humans would begin killing each other instead of fighting the remaining dwarves and prospering. The Bionicle was smart enough to know that the humans would begin infighting amongst their species and would not remain nicely nice with each other for long. So these guys shut themselves down to prevent them being manipulated and used as massive weapons like they were before by the dwarves. Fast forward a couple million, not million, but a couple more 100,000 years. The modern day Lego, the Corporal, Sergeant McLaughlin, Captain Avery, well, not them in particular, but modern day times, when a little bit before the start of episode 2, probably, the Madam General of the United Figure Front, I think I'm probably going to give her a proper name, yeah, her proper name is not actually Madam General, as you can probably guess. It's actually Katya Kharkov, but that's not the point. So Miss Katya here, the Madam General, leader of the UFF, her and her troops, who used to work for DAFE, which is the Democratic Action Figure Empire, the original government that she overthrew in episode 3. Well, not her, Ragnarok did, but anyway. So she and her troops, before the revolution began, they found the Bionicle Citadel in one of the mountains. She uncovered their cavern. I don't know how she opened the bloody doors, because it's dwarven, and that language died off, along with the dwarves. But she managed to open, well, probably explosives, but anyway, managed to get inside, wake up the Bionicle soldiers, and convince them that the Legos had done what they had feared. Like the Lego humans had become destructive and were threatening to destroy the entire planet. Now, although the Bionicle's original mission was only to kill the orcs, their alternate mission the dwarves was to make sure that, like I said, they acted as military police in the cities. They were meant to keep order. Upon learning, well, being lied to, basically, that the Lego humans were threatening to destroy the planet with their advanced technology, the Bionicle donned their UFF arm spikes, pretty much, which some of them you have, like uniformity, I guess you could call it. Even though each one was unique and made by a different person, yada yada yada. They joined the UFF after being lied to. Shortly, probably sometime during episode 1.5 or 2. Probably 1.5. Probably this episode sometime during episode 2, during those events. Miss Katja here, the Madam General, created Ragnarok, who is, if I could get him really quickly, this is my action figure stash, as you can see. This is Ragnarok, if you remember correctly. He was an experiment by the UFF and their evil Madam General to create an ambassador between the two species of toy. He is, as you can see, an action figure, but he has Lego-looking parts all over him. He's made of the very Lego. That was a mistake. Very Lego-looking parts. He's made of. Although he is an action figure, he isn't Lego. As you can tell, he doesn't have opposable joints. He does have copycat Lego pieces on the front of him, but not the back. Well, kind of the back, but not really. So he was an attempt to create a being that could communicate with both action figure and Bionicle and keep them both on good terms. Ragnarok was the first attempt, and he became the leader of the Bionicle in the UFF army. So, basically, to kind of wrap things up, the Bionicle were built by dwarves many years ago, taken advantage of by Katja Kharkov and her UFF, United Figure Front, the fascist action figure faction in the planet in the modern day. Then their parts were used along with some really messed up experimentation to create Ragnarok, who would then convince them that their creators, I guess, the minifigure Legos, had turned against them in the planet and were trying to destroy it. Which isn't completely a lie, because as you can see in episode 2 and episode 1, the Legos do like to send bombs and explosives down on their foes. So you can imagine the impact on the planet and how that's a no-no to the eco-friendly, humongous, towering battle bots of death and destruction. So yeah, they don't like the fact that the Lego have no real care for how they treat the planet with their plasma explosives and their plasma bullets in the case of this episode 2, and their that's what I said. That's where episode 1 took place, on that table on that corner, and their use of missiles and bombs. So the Bionicle joined the UFF, the bastards, and fought alongside them to overthrow DAFE, which is the Democratic action figure empire. So yeah, that's all I'm going to give away for now. As time continues, if you guys want, again, I will keep making these videos. I will keep making them. I will keep adding on to the lore of the Bionicles and the fantasy minifigures, and also the ancient histories of both, the action figures, the Playmobil, who are in that box underneath there, and the Mega Blocks and the other toy races that exist. Oh, my fire has fallen over. Sorry about that. This is the set of an old stop motion I was going to post. Or no, this is episode 2. Yeah, this is the set episode 2 minus that part and the giant Bionicle axe. This is the set episode 2 with the truck that was burning, and these guys popped out, and then they died, and then this guy was over here and he died too. Remember that? No? Yes? Comment if you remember. Anyway, so yeah, that's just the history so far. I I'm very crazy about this kind of stuff. I'm very interested in the lore of universes and series and games and movies and comics, books, anything I have to do with entertainment. I want there to be a story behind it. I want there to be lore. I want there to be background. Anyway, so yes, I already have made up the history in the future of every single faction, species, race, and faction in the uh, stop motion universe, if you will. I've had that done for a while, so if you guys want me to continue this series, I will be more than happy to just kind of make a vlog or whatever of uh, the histories. So yes, again, one final look. Now, where the Bionicle, before I go, also to make it a bit longer, I don't know where the Bionicle got their advanced weapons from. As I said before, the Bionicle created by ancient dwarves, and while they did have muskets, they didn't have pump shotguns. They didn't have pump shotguns back in the ancient times. Sadly, they probably would have had these big axes or swords, shields, that kind of stuff. They probably, I mean, I'm going on a bit of a limb here, but I don't think, you know, Christopher Columbus carried around an, MP5 with him in his ship. No, that's a bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying. They wouldn't have had pump shotguns, so, which a little bit of a hint for the lore of the next part of this. Maybe the UFF is working with some Lego